Whoa. Oh my word, it's happening again. The Detroit Guitar Trio podcast. We're back. Scott, Tony, and of course myself, Ben, speaking in the third person. So we're back, and as always, we've got a topic that we've come to a consensus on. We will be talking about tone production. Tone production, and perhaps then a little bit of a pivot into nail filing. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the flow dictates. So, we have to find a place to start. There's many different places to start with tone production. So we'll just have to pick one and go from there. I think a cool place to start could be kind of two essential elements that come together to produce a nice tone. And we'll even go into what makes a good tone. But first, it starts with a combination of flesh and a nail. If you plucked the nylon string, the string of a classical guitar, with just your nail, it would be too naily. It would sound a little too thin. And if you used only flesh, then it would be a little too puffy, and it wouldn't be very articulate, and it wouldn't project as well. So the flesh and the nail come together to make a tone. The balance between flesh and nail is how it happens. So that is the beginning of our discussion of the mechanics, the balance between flesh and nail. From there, we'll pivot on just all the little variables we can do to change our tone and different mechanics that go into tone production. Let's talk next about some factors you can alter to change your tone color. Tony, what comes to mind on things you can do to change your tone color that are also somewhat related to the fundamentals of tone production?
So I think we can go deeper still.
Oh, go deeper still. Go deeper still then.
Yeah.
Go
I
for
don't
it.
know. I mean we can there's so many things that alter like our sound, things we can talk about playing Ponticello, which is closer to the bridge, or Tasto, closer to the fingerboard. But you know, this nail in flesh, I mean, do we agree that that is we should talk about
We
that?
might not even agree.
Do we all agree that you know that the modern way to play classical guitar is with a combination of nail and flesh?
Mm. Well, I voiced my opinion. Scott, what do you think? What do you think about the nail in the flesh and the combination thereof?
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it is 100%. Obviously, most of us, all of us here, play with fingernails.
Mm.
And so we use our fingernails, and there is some flesh contact. So, for our purposes of discussion, I think that's fine. I think you can play the classical guitar without fingernails in the same way, like that, and still have a beautiful tone. It's different, but yeah. So, I mean, for our purposes, though, we'll just talk about nail tone. And I don't know. I'm not really sure if it involves. I can't really understand exactly if it involves at the release point, like the flesh and nail. But
Yeah.
it has some of both,
Hmm.
flesh and nail. That's what we play with. So I think we could agree on that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What do we think about the ratio? And the ratio might change. Maybe it's more nail than flesh. Because that's a good point thinking about the release point. We're skipping ahead, but we'll talk about it a little. So the release point would just be when your nail finally leaves the string that it's plucking. And at the release point, there's a lot of nail. I wonder if the ratio is more nail than flesh. Or it could depend on what kind of tone you're wanting to get as well. This could pivot us kind of to how the stroke kind of happens. And we'll see if we can pin down some particulars. So we're on kind of the same page that it's a combination of flesh and nail. So first we have to go over our contact point, because the finger does have to contact the string if it wants to play it, believe it or not. So this is also a big point of contention. The general rule of thumb, pun intended, is that when your finger contacts the string, you can kind of superimpose a clock over your finger. And in 11 o'clock position, kind of the corner of your fingernail is kind of widely taught as the contact point. So you're contacting there at 11 o'clock position on the tip of your finger. And this is where the drama comes in. Are you contacting with flesh and nail at the same time?
I've never heard the 11 o'clock thing.
You haven't heard 11 o'clock?
Yeah. Where'd you get that from?
Interesting. Mary Lou.
Mary Lou
Mary Lou
about
Roberts.
That, yeah. It sounds fine. I'm not disagreeing with it necessarily. I hadn't heard that before.
What do you use to describe the contact point?
Just like this off center of the tip, type thing.
Okay. All right.
But that's
the thumb side of the nail. So 11 o'clock is very specific. I think that can vary depending on the length of your nail and the shape of just the organic shape of your nail. And then also just what your fingertips look like. But thumb, generally you don't want the contact point to be the far side of the hand.
Is that
so?
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tony. Go ahead.
I was just saying that the string contact point generally is the thumb side of your nail. So 11 o'clock, sure. But what were we going to say, Scott?
But my question is, 11 o'clock, is that, like, I'm looking at my fingers and I'm trying to think about what 11 o'clock is. And do you mean, are you referencing 11 o'clock in the sense of being left-handed?
Well, that's the thing I actually realized recently, because as Tony says, it's the thumb side of the nail.
Of course.
So I would, as if I were checking my nails.
If you're looking at
my hand out in front of me, checking my nails and holding, so my palm would be kind of facing away, like if I was doing an Iron Man blast move. I'm holding my hand out like this. I see 12 as centered with my finger, and then 11 o'clock is to my right. But I realize I'm doing that as a left-handed person.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure what the perspective is. I mean, we'd have to think about it.
It'd be like 1 o'clock then for the right.
Yeah. It would be.
See, because actually, if I
it'd be. Yeah, I don't know.
If I take my palm and if I face my palm away from me and I look at my right hand, which I play with, on my rosette, then I look at my index finger, the tip of my index finger, and actually, if it's pointing away from me, my palm is pointing away, then I actually would contact at 11 o'clock. More.
Yeah. I think it works with left and right hand.
No. So, but if I look at my left hand, it would be more like 1 o'clock.
Correct.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You're right. I play at 1 o'clock.
Did you prepare for this, Ben?
Sort of.
Do you regularly play at 1 o'clock?
Well, it's inverted. It's inverted for left hand. So I play at 11 o'clock, but it just looks like 1 o'clock if we're using the clock. So I'm at 1 o'clock.
So can we just say thumb side?
Yeah, thumb side might be better than the clock.
Yeah.
For our purposes.
Thumb side of
Oh, I've tried to play it on
just
the far
center,
side of the nail. I've experimented with it.
And some people do, and there I think there are specific instances where that might work better for people, depending again on their anatomy and just the type of nails that they're able to grow. But
I've tried it. It doesn't work very well.
Actually, I think in the Pumping Nylon book, in their whole nail section, there's some kind of talk about like the A finger actually being on the opposite side.
I've experienced that. depending on different things I've tried, it really does feel like the A finger is. But it was hard to get the tone to be congruous
Yeah.
across the fingers.
Well, when they're shaping the nails, I guess they're shaping for that purpose.
Yeah. I can see how that could be for some people. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
I
the
played
pumping
like that
nylon,
before.
there's an image of the reverse slant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've played
that's-
with that nail shape before. Yeah, it works okay. Or you could be like Ida Presti and play on the far side of all your nails. You could do that, as I understand it. You just have to crick your wrist. But anyways, we're getting off our path. We're attempting to forge. But this is all good, of course. The digressions. So thumb side of the nail.
For the most
Getting
part.
my clock. I was reading my clock wrong all these years.
But for the most part, I think that's a good thing to
Clock.
kind of interject there. Like, I mean, for the most part, none of us have really experienced that playing with the other side of the nail. And I think some people, like particularly with the A finger, I think that's important to bring up if somebody's
It
listening
is.
and they're, it's not just gospel to play with the thumb side,
Yeah.
You might for your technique and hand shape and finger length and all that stuff, it might be more ideal for you to play with the other side,
Mm-hmm.
like especially on the A finger.
Yeah. It could definitely work for some people.
A finger would be dependent.
My A finger tends to lean more that way. I wouldn't say it
Yeah.
is the far side, but it tends to lean more that way just due to the way my nail comes in and just the angle of my fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got our contact point in the standard technique, which can always be deviated from. We're contacting on the thumb side of the nail. Then we have, we'll see what you guys think about this idea. The string then travels across the nail, so it travels across a plane that you create on the nail. At the same time, you're getting kind of a flash bubble built up on your finger. So you're contacting, the string's traveling across the nail, and you have a bit of a flash bubble across a plane. And then you eventually get to your release point, which is where your plane runs out, and so does the little flash bubble that you're building. And then it releases. And then that's kind of the mechanics of what's happening. What do you guys think about my explanation of the plane, the strings traveling on, and then the release point? Agree or disagree?
I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I think the
Nice.
thing is the release. Is the release.
Yeah, the
right?
release is the key.
Because some people play with, a more slanted nail, that has almost like a hard edge, across the whole width of the nail. Some play with a more rounded edge, back edge. And I think that that type of release is a huge factor in your tone, right? So that angle that the string breaks over the nail, I think is important. That's where you excite the string, and I think when I think of good tone, I think of guitars. They don't work side to side. So if the guitar is on our lap, the strings don't work. Let me use this word here.
Ooh, special word.
They're not longitudinal. They don't move side to side. We think we pluck the string like you pluck, string 1 and you're plucking towards string 2. And realistically, the top does not work side to side. It works up and down so that the top needs to vibrate, right? That is, again, if the guitar is laying flat on your lap, the top does not work forward and back. It works up and down from the floor to the ceiling, up and down like that. And so getting good tone or getting the best potential tone from your instrument has to do with exciting the string up and down. And that would be a transversely. up and down.
Ooh.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Nice.
So, but strings don't work that way either. And the way the strings do function is in a torsional wave.
Ooh.
So, because we do pluck them, and so they do move side to side, but they also move up and down, but they move in kind of this spiraling way.
Huh.
And so, getting it to be as even and excited as possible in the up and down plane will give us our most volume and our richest tone. Because if you're just plucking strictly perpendicular to the string, regardless of your amount of flesh or nail, it is going to be very thin and weak.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me, best tone and best shape does this to the string. It produces a very full and resonant torsional wave.
Mm. Okay.
And so I think the nail shape and the contact point, all of that does that. This is one reason why our rest stroke is generally our best tone. And then the goal should be to get our free stroke. And so that to sound like our rest stroke, because that means we're exciting the string in the proper direction.
Yeah, because rest stroke can be more down than free stroke.
It can be.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think free stroke could be. The question is, could it be any less? That's a question. Does it have to be less?
Oh, I don't understand your question.
Does free stroke have to be less down than rest stroke?
Well, I would think that it would have to be less down because you're missing the string behind you. Rest stroke's able to be more down because you're hitting the string behind them when you're plucking. Is my thought.
I mean, it's an open question. Like, what are you doing with the follow through? What is the intentional direction of your finger? You can still miss the strings while still pushing down.
You can,
That's what free stroke
but
is.
probably not as down as you could doing a rest stroke.
I don't know.
What do you think,
Scott?
Tony? So what do you think, Scott?
I don't know. I mean, I think, obviously everything Tony said, I feel like is, pretty, I mean, if you've been playing a while, that's gonna be the general ideal, and that's what makes it resonant, and I think that, it's hard because like you do those, I've done these exercises, like these kind of fun exercises with students, and I think maybe Mary Lou showed them to me. So maybe you're aware of them, or they're just kind of in the Suzuki world, or maybe elsewhere. But where you're kind of like trying to blind play free stroke and rest stroke and see if somebody can tell which is which. So you're trying to match them as much as you can.
Yeah.
And that's a little difficult because you can always hear your finger. Like if you're really paying attention, you can hear there's just something else there that happens. Like, I don't know if it's a finger falling on the next string that you can kind of hear, but it's not necessarily the pure tone itself, but there's other things that can be a tell about that. But I found that at times I can get my rest stroke and free stroke pretty close. And I don't know if that's because my rest stroke is maybe not as good as it could be. But
I doubt that. Scott.
No, I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of what you would consider is, could you make them each sound, as resonant as you wanted to where they matched, and then you would kind of go from there. That would be the way to tell, I guess.
Yeah.
But
because you can, we were talking about things to change the color of our tone, and just the angle that you come across the string is important. Mechanically, I talk about, you're bringing your fingers into your fist, right? And they're kind of going in line with your forearm and your elbow. Well, depending on the angle of your neck, it changes the angle that you're coming across the
It
strings,
does.
right? So that has an effect on tone. And then even then, you can still, without like severely angling your wrist, bending your wrist, you can come across the strings differently. We've experienced slicing the string, which is not what we want, right? But we can pluck more perpendicular to bring out certain voices, especially more modern pieces that I've been playing recently, that I find like when I really want something to come out or sound a certain way or have a brightness about it, I will change the angle of attack or that I'm or the follow through rather, to bring out different voices. So I don't know if you want to. I mean that whole angle that you're coming across the strings
Yeah,
affects
yeah.
nail shape and affects tone significantly.
Yeah, I mean, I can offer up just an alternate way of thinking about the idea that you're talking about, because you're saying, the more parallel you are to the string that you're plucking, the brighter it's going to be. Obviously, if you're too parallel, then it's going to be too bright. But that can be
Depending on your nail shape.
depending on your nail shape. But another way you
Hold on
could
a second. Can we be careful here? Because did you say parallel or perpendicular?
He said parallel. You mean
Parallel.
perpendicular.
Yeah, you mean perpendicular.
Oh,
At more of a 90-degree angle, that's when you're,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait a sec. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I see. Perpendicular. Yeah, I did mean perpendicular. Good catch, guys. Thank you.
Sure.
But another way you could think about it is that your finger's a little person crossing the string, which is a road. And then if you walk straight across the road, which would be perpendicular, then it's the quickest way across the road, but the tone is going to be brighter. So then if you walk across the road diagonally, which does take longer, but it can make your tone more round and pleasing. So that's another way you could think about it. But yeah, we got that. One thing I want to circle back to is Tony, you don't think too much of the plane that it travels on. You think it's all more just contact and release? I find that I can have a nail shape and it feels like there's just too much resistance, and that it's making the thing that helps is kind of smoothing the plane that it travels on a bit more, having that be a bit more smooth somehow, just with changing the file angle or some type of buffering. So I find that the plane in between the contact and release point is significant for me, as far as it can feel like there's too much resistance and then it's too hard to get through the string. But you don't think too much of the plane in between?
I don't think about the plane because I think about the sound and how it feels, and I just adjust the nails to do it.
Yeah.
I think that I have a good and comfortable, forgiving contact point, and that there is some resistance, but nothing catching, and that in the end, it is the sound that I'm looking for, and not. I don't think too much about the plane. I think about the contact point. I think about the release. I don't think so much about the plane that the string travels.
Okay, interesting.
I don't really think. I mean, depending on your nail shape, it may not be a plane. Like if you don't
Really?
have, like if you're doing the ramp thing, yeah, I would say that's a plane. But some people have more rounded nails, and that's not necessarily when you're coming through the string, a plane.
Wow, interesting. What do you think about the plane, Scott?
Yeah.
You run the half moon. Do you
I'm a
feel
half
like you
mooner.
have more of
Yeah.
a? Do you have? You're a mooner, eh?
I'm a half mooner.
Oh, all right. Do you feel a plane on your nail? Or more contact release?
I guess I really don't think about it. I don't want to prematurely talk about nails too much. I guess like
we can bleed it in a little bit.
Okay, fine. So when I first started, considering this more, I used more of a ramp shape. And it worked fine, but I felt like there were some kind of limitations on that for me, and mostly that it was less. What's the word? Flexible. So then at some point I just started doing like this kind of more rounded half moon shape with the nail, where like, generally to a degree, like the middle point is a higher point, but it's pretty rounded with like reasonably kind of flat surfaces on each side, And it just gave me a lot of flexibility. And since that point, I haven't really thought about it too much. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really think about the plan. I also, I don't like the string traveling up the finger type thing. Like that all kind of happens too quickly. I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine exactly what happens there. Your skin bubble thing sounds kind of like gross.
Yeah, you don't want no skin bubbles.
I get what you're talking about, but it's a little it's a little weird to consider. But yeah, I mean
that only happens with a ramp.
Yeah,
really interesting.
I don't know. So that whole thing is not something like, since I've done the half moon, it's just kind of like, really, I just make sure they're smooth and maintain that shape, and then then I just play and I just
Yeah. Can you go into more detail on what the ramp is? Because the ramp doesn't it have corners? Ramp has corners, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's been a little while since I've thought about the ramp. Do you use a ramp?
I used a ramp in the past. I think I'm more half moon now.
Oh,
because the ramp, when I did the ramp, which is kind of, you really do just get that one plane, and you're at that one angle. I found that it would give me corners.
Yeah, there's variations on it, but
I found that I get these wicked corners with the ramp, and then now with how I'm playing, I have to take those corners away.
Yeah, I experienced that too. I would kind of, and I don't know if it was just because I was shaping it poorly. Maybe there's a way to do it where you shape it better.
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, me either. So I mean, but the idea behind the ramp is that you extend the length of the time that the finger is going to be. I guess, I don't know. This sounds.
I mean, that
weird.
would make the bubble, and that would make more of a plane.
But I think it's also like a tone thing. You're extending that to kind of really get that big tone.
The beautiful, sweet tone.
Yeah. So I mean, it's low on one end, and then kind of ramps up higher on the other end. So if we're talking about the thumb side being shorter, it'd ramp up to the other side, the fourth finger side, or the pinky side of the finger.
It extends it if you're just plucking. I don't think it necessarily, it can extend it depending on the direct, like your follow through of your fingers. But even with a rounded half moon, you're extending it because of the way the direction of our fingers are still going down in towards the sound hole, down towards the top. I think that's one argument for it is that you extend the contact time and you're really ramping up this angle, pushing the string down. But I don't think that's necessarily true, because if you're not pushing your finger in the proper direction, it doesn't work. I think that with the half moon, you're still kind of pushing down into the sound hole, and you still have similar contact time with the string.
I mean, you've kind of gone into it a little bit. What's your understanding of the ramp, Tony?
What is the shape?
Yeah, just the shape, just the general idea.
I mean, it's like if you take your hand, and we were using this clock, but let's say
the clock. Yes, bring the clock back.
Yeah. So at 12 o'clock at high noon,
nice.
And you draw you've got a line, so that's coming. You take the nail file and you make a T.
Okay.
Right? This is perfectly perpendicular. A lot of people with ramps will do something that's just a few degrees less than that, slanted towards the thumb side, and it's literally just a straight line with the corners slightly softened, just to help with
Huh.
the attack and the release. But
So that
yeah,
would be a big, long, smooth plane.
yes, that's what I'm thinking of
Okay.
with a ramp. Yeah,
Okay. That
that's
was
usually
kind of my experience with it. Is it was just one smooth, and it kind of you kind of get this raised side of the nail that's away from the thumb. That's not on the thumb side.
yeah,
And
the
that's
far side
the
of the
peak
hand.
of the ramp.
Yeah, I don't like the way that sounds.
You're not a ramper.
No, for my nails it doesn't work. I mean, my M finger's more of a more ramp like. My A finger's much more, half moon like.
Hmm.
My I finger is like half moon ish, but like the far side, just because there's a hook, it's shorter, so it kind of, um, is the far side is kind of short.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So we have ramp, and then half moon is kind of the other idea. And
And
Scott,
there's
you
all
kind
sorts of
of
things in between,
yeah, you can combine them both, which I
Yeah,
feel like that's kind of where I've had to be,
and
because when
different
I
fingers may need different shapes.
yeah, that too. When I went like straight pure ramp, I could not deal with the corner. Had to take the corners away. So I do feel like maybe I am perhaps more of a half moon to get the corners away, and then kind of maybe a bit of a ramp towards the release area. But I think it's worth pinning down these two shapes a bit more. You've talked about it a bit, Scott, but could you kind of give the fundamentals of the half moon, kind of as Tony did with the ramp?
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of did as well with the half moon. It's like, it's just like it's described as half moon because that's kind of the nail shape for the most part. It has this kind of, you know, it's generally rounded in
Mm-hmm.
a what? I don't know. in a half moon shape,
It does kind of look like that
It does
already.
kind of look like that, but I mean, that's kind of the general idea. And like we were saying, that can be shifted a little bit so that the high point of the nail can be shifted to the left or the right.
Ooh. Hmm.
And I'm just looking at my nails and I would say, the I finger might be more center. I don't know. The A finger actually looks like it's actually a little higher on the left side of it, the thumb side.
Oh, interesting.
So that's actually the case where it's just slightly on the other side.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean that's really it. I don't know how to describe it for a listener who's not familiar with it, um,
Mm-hmm.
and without a visual, without like. So if anybody else has a better way to describe that, feel free to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're looking at your hand from the palm side, the nail starts from nothing, so you just see flesh, and then the nail starts to peek out ever so slightly, generally with the majority of the nail being, like we said, towards the center somewhere.
Mm.
Those some lean a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. You know, um, like barely the nail just clearing the tip of the finger. Um, so anywhere from like maybe like a 16th to I'm thinking millimeters, like 1 to 3 millimeters. 3 is a lot, but like 1 to 2 millimeters is what I like for my nail length. If I'm looking from my palm and my hand is at eye level, the nail is just over the fingertip, and that's towards the center. And then again, as it goes towards the far side of the hand, it goes to nothing. So there are no corners.
Mm.
It begins with nothing, and it has some peak in the middle area, and then it again fades to nothing. Where if you have a ramp, generally you see corners jutting up from where it starts, and then you see this plane that comes across, and then on the far side you definitely see a high corner,
Mm.
and then the nail comes down. So generally there are no corners. You just see it start peeking out, grow in size, and then disappear,
Mm. A crescent moon.
like a
A
crescent
half
moon.
moon. Ooh. Yeah, I guess more
More
crescent. More
crescent.
crescent than
The
half
nail
moon.
shape is more crescent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, nice. We got it. And then as you made the point, you can play and mix and match them. As far as shaping the nail, well, I'll go into nail shaping in a sec. What do we get? Let's go to the half moon in particular. Talking about the peak of the nail. What does that variable do when you play around with it? Like, say, a centered peak, as opposed to a peak that's not on the thumb side. I guess you'd say
Actually,
pinky side. What happens when you change that around? Does it affect the release time? Would you have a quicker release the more centered the peak is? What variable does that change? Moving the peak around of a half moon shape.
okay, so hold on a second.
Yeah.
I got the pumping nylon book because I was curious about that.
Hmm.
So in there, like the half moon shape for anybody interested who's listening to this and they'd like to look at it. I'm sure you can find images online, but the image I'm sure we're all thinking about is on page 32, and it's described as number 1. Okay, now I don't know. You guys don't have it. I'll show it here, but I just listed it.
Tony's got it all up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There it
Okay,
is.
so that's number 1.
Hmm.
And see, the ramp is number 3 and 4, and number 2 is like nobody.
It's pointed. Yeah.
So number 2 is pointed. Okay, but he says one of the most important issues is how the string moves across the nail. Shapes 1 and 2 are what he classifies as don'ts, like don't do that. Cause the string to travel uphill with too much resistance. These shapes also prevent us from using enough of the nail since they release near the middle of the nail. So this is the the nylon Bible here, and so it says a little bit differently than we're talking about, which is
What I disagree with is it has to also do if you point your fingers straight towards your face and you look at the nail shape, some nails are more curved and some are more flat. So that the way that they grow out of the nail bed, that radius changes.
yeah.
And so if you have like very flat-ish nails, maybe the half moon shape doesn't work as well. But I don't agree with that description because I've seen that, and I don't agree with his description of nails. The shapes are there, but I don't agree with his descriptions of how they function.
Yeah.
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 Scholarly disagreement. Nice.
No, I mean,
That content is also from the 80s, I believe.
It is older.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's from the 80s. I think it's. I mean, it's good material. There's a lot of interesting things here. I don't agree with that.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. But 95, I think.
Oh, feels like the 80s.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
anyway, so but yeah, and then I think it's nice because actually, what you're talking about, that kind of like perspective of looking at the nails, he shows on page 31, which has a type A curve, type B flat, type C bent downward.
Oh, bent.
So I mean, it's covers a lot of information. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, to return to my question, I suppose, circle back. So if we're looking at the half moon shape, what does changing the location of the peak do? Anyone? I'm just wondering for myself. I've never really played with a nail where the peak is at the center. I think my peak has always been on the pinky side, favoring the pinky side. So I've been thinking about it lately, like, oh man, I should try it at the center and see what happens. My instinct is that, or just my hypothesis would be that it makes your release quicker, right? Because you're putting your release point closer to the contact point. Is that logic correct? What do you think, guys? Anyone? Thoughts?
I don't know. It's kind of tricky. I mean, to think of it on this level. Like I said, the reason I use the more crescent moon, half moon shape is purely because it feels more flexible. Like with the ramp, I could get a nice tone with the ramp. But I felt like when I changed, like if I changed the angle as, playing the strings or, really,
I changed my chair.
yeah, I chair, yeah,
Like literally, it changes the
chair's different.
geometry. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it is very restrictive, and like I agree with Scott on that. It's not flexible. You change one little thing, you're wearing taller shoes, and and you're all of a sudden it's the angles of everything is slightly different, and you're not getting a tone that you're completely satisfied with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, but I haven't really thought about it too much as far as like, is it releasing quicker? Is there more, as he said, more
Then
resistance?
the question you're asking, I think, is something I would address on an individual basis with a student,
Hmm.
because it depends again, um, at the shape of the nail, from even when you're looking at it from head on with your fingers pointing towards you.
Huh.
That shape affects the shape of the nail, the way you're going to affect the way you're going to file the nails.
Hmm.
So I can't say that. I could say specifically with, like, if I do that with my M finger, which is shaped differently than my I finger, will result in this.
Yeah.
And in my I finger, it won't result in the same thing.
I
And
see.
so I don't feel like it's a good. I don't feel like it's a good question.
Okay. It's too isolated.
Yes.
As in you could change that same variable across your fingernails and get different results.
Correct.
Okay. So there's too many other things tied to it.
Yes.
I see. All right, that's fine. I've never explored. I'm exploring now a little bit, changing where the peak is, and it will be different. It will be a bit different across nails. So, but okay, that's fair.
I think
I
that's
have-
healthy. I
No,
think
I'm
it's
playing around with it.
I think it's healthy to explore, and with different nail shapes, and to find, even if you find what doesn't work for you is educational. Like, wow, that was a
Yeah.
really bad decision, and make a mental note, or write it down, so that way you have a clear assessment. Well, okay, well, it feels really good, but it doesn't sound good. Why do I think it feels good? Oh, because the release doesn't have that much resistance, but I don't like the way it sounds. It sounds very thin. You know what I mean? Just take mental note, and then as you try different shapes, you eventually can, I think, come up with a systematic way of finding something that works well
Yeah.
and is flexible. I think flexibility is important. And while you're experimenting with different nail shapes, you have to be flexible to try to get good tone. And I think that that's healthy, because our nails aren't the same from day to day. There needs
true.
to be some level of flexibility. We don't have, 30 minutes every day to do our nails to make sure that they're perfect for the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like I have broken my nails less frequently.
Yeah.
So I've gone to that too. Just remember, but it's hard to say because that was in the beginning. But actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the main thing that caused me to change was when I started working with students to get nail tone,
Mm-hmm.
and I would work with their nail shape. So I would be filing it, and I was just like, this is the best way to go. For them, would be like more of the half moon shape,
Mm.
because it's like, it's just easier. And then after that, I was like, at some point, I just started doing it too.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing with the ramp that I experienced were those corners.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah,
just the half moon doesn't have that issue
yeah.
where
I
it can
know.
all just be you could change your contact point, at least in my experience, you could change your contact point on the fly, and since you don't have a corner anywhere, you can kind of contact wherever. I mean, obviously that's for exploring. You wouldn't want to change your contact point every time. But it seems a lot less fussy.
Yeah.
Seems a lot less fussy than the ramp.
So we're talking about the fingers, right? Briefly, like, are we talking about? So we're talking about nails, or what? What are we talking
We're
about?
talking about it all. We're just free. We're free flowing.
So the thumb is interesting because I think it's funny when I mentioned the thumbnail.
You know.
I feel like a lot of people are more surprised to hear that you're playing with almost only the nail most of the time on the thumb.
On the thumb.
Yeah, you're just using nail.
Nice. I don't even know how the thumb works, dude.
Yeah.
Thumb is so mysterious. Who even knows what's going on over there?
Yeah, it's just weird. I think not a lot of people realize that.
Yeah?
Not people I talk to, but the thumb, and I think it suits because you're playing more on the wound strings that it just that's a tone that works best there.
Mostly nail.
Mostly now.
I find that I use quite a bit of flesh.
On your thumb, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 I think the thumb, generally speaking, and everybody's different,
Yeah.
but I think the thumb, generally speaking, across the board would be more just nail.
Mhm.
I mean, that's why, like, yeah, I mean, you certainly have, like, I don't know. I guess thumb rest stroke could involve flesh and nail, but
I do a ton of thumb rest stroke.
yeah. I mean, I do too, but it could use the thumb nail only. Doesn't have to. Obviously, it's going to contact the next string on the flesh, but
Correct. It doesn't have to.
yeah.
I prefer
Yeah.
the sound.
You like the sound of the thumb
Yeah.
flesh nail, yeah.
I mean, I have a hard time getting my nail to stay long. So
Yeah,
I'm stuck.
that is a problem for me too.
I am stuck getting more flesh. I
Gotta
mean,
drink your milk, man. Come
I
on.
feel like these past 3 years, it's just been hard to get like a full year of without like breaking my thumbnail.
No. Ben's thumbnail is like the best I've seen.
I can let it get wicked long. I can get
Yeah,
it as
insane.
long as it wants.
Yeah.
This is short for me. Well, I get lazy. It's so hard to file and so thick because of all the milk I drink. So it's just a pain to file it. So it just gets longer and longer and longer. I don't even know what I need for my thumb, honestly. My thumb's been feeling good lately, though. But I don't. The thumb is so mystical. But yeah, I'm pivoting away from the thumb. Back to filing. This is one variable that I found. We'll see what you guys think about it. Has been tricky to feel out and to figure out. It's the angle you're holding your file at while you're filing. We have to kind of establish some points of reference. So kind of what I've heard, what I've been taught is that, if you're holding your finger, maybe your hand flat out in front of you, so kind of your thumb is facing your eyeballs, and you hold the file up to your nail, so you've got a completely flat plane. Then you increase the angle of the file to about a 45-degree angle, like right underneath the nail. And that's kind of how you start. What do we think about that as a starting point? 45-degree angle.
I've heard other angles like 72 degrees.
Yeah? What else have you heard?
70 degrees.
53.
Yeah. Well,
24.
I think they talk about this in The Natural Guitarist.
Yeah.
So this is my thought on this because I have a strong opinion on this. I'll share it and then you guys can refute it.
Nice. We will. We'll demolish it. I'm
I like to have the file touch the flesh and the nails. So because it changes depending on the length of the nail. This way the contact point is flat-ish with the string with when you're contacting flesh and nail. That way that has a good surface area. Does that make sense?
Hold on. I got to so you're talking about filing with the nail always, or the file always touching flesh and nail, never
Yes.
just nail.
Where the contact point would be.
Yeah.
So that angle is not strictly 90 degrees. It's not 45 degrees. It's somewhere in between. And whatever it is for that day, depending on the length of the nail, it is that angle.
Okay.
And it's more like a 70 degree. It kind of is more like that.
I'm trying to follow this. So this is so hard for like somebody
It's challenging with no
driving down the road, like listening. Okay, so are you saying that like you just kind of file the edge, like you don't get the file underneath into the nail?
I do not get the file underneath the nail
Whoa.
unless I am doing the final buffing.
Oh,
But when I'm filing the
interesting.
shape of the nail, when I'm filing the shape, it is in line with with the way the nail and the flesh will contact the string.
Interesting.
So that seems like it might help you keep a more consistent length. Like you wouldn't
No,
go
because the length can fluctuate. What it does, the angle is not set. The angle is variable on the length, is what I'm saying.
Which angle though? The angle of like the 45 I was describing, that angle.
So if you rest the file on the fingertip, and say your nail is like really long, then the file would be more flat.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But so that's not shaping, because shaping. You're just
He's not talking about shaping.
Okay.
He's talking about the
I was
angle
talking
to
about
hold.
shaping.
You're talking about the angle to hold.
Yeah.
The
I was
the
thinking
file.
that's how you shape.
So you
Is that
don't
not how
have
you
a
shape?
consistent length. You're just like
Ooh.
Me?
I'm not. I'm laughing, but I don't think it's funny. I'm trying to understand exactly how you're saying, because obviously you're somebody who has very beautiful tone.
Oh.
So when you shape, you have. So okay, but you're talking about just like
The edge, the nail edge angle. The edge,
okay.
the nail edge angle, not the angle that you're holding the file relative towards. Like if you're looking at from the top of your hand, I'm not talking about what angle you're holding the file that way. I'm talking about the angle you are, because there's two angles we're talking about, right?
Mhm.
Sure, yeah,
Like as if you were to make the ramp. That is one angle.
Yeah.
That I'm not talking about the file in that plane.
Okay.
I'm talking about the file in the plane of the top of the nail versus I don't know how to describe that.
It's so hard.
Step in.
It's so hard. I think you're talking about. Well, what's interesting is you're bringing up a difference between.
I'll
Do
describe
you have it? Do you have it?
I'll describe. So if you're looking at your hand, like let's say your eye finger from the side.
Sure.
So your palm is up and down, and
Yeah.
you're looking at your eye finger from the side like this.
Okay.
And you're taking your nail file and you're filing it towards you and away from you, and this direction. Now the angle that you turn your file, I'm talking about in the plane that you are going towards you and away from you.
Okay,
This angle
yeah.
here. I don't know. Well, this is why we have video. This angle
There we
here.
go. There
There's
we
This
go.
angle here.
There we go.
Not this angle.
Yeah, we get that. Yeah, okay.
This angle.
Yeah,
That's what
that
we
angle.
thought. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
depends on the length
Yeah.
of your fingernail.
That depends on the length of my fingernail.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But
then
but don't you adjust the length of your fingernail based on based on like seeing it peek out above the flesh? That's my question, because sometimes then that would just mean like as it's growing and you're filing, you're just extending that that angle. You're creating.
I mean, because I file.
Is it just within reason type thing?
I mean, I go over my nails daily.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have to reshape my nails. It's more maintaining my nail length and shape. If I would, yes, if my nails were I would bring my nails to whatever rough length that I prefer.
Yeah. Okay.
And then as I'm finishing the shaping, it's not like once the nails are to length and to shape, this is what I'm doing to continue to as I move towards polishing.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems like actually from kind of what I was thinking that would then create a pretty consistent length, because I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to do that. And you only go under the nail when you're like buffing.
Yeah, at the higher grits.
Yeah.
Yes, the higher grits. Yeah,
That's
to get
cool.
that to be smooth. Yeah.
Neat.
Okay. I mean, it's to me it's hard because I think there's two significant angles that can happen. I think we described one, which is what I was talking about with the 45 or 72 or whatever have you. It's like changing the file angle from either a 180 or like a 90. But then you can also change, and this is, I have no idea how to even describe this. You can change the file angle. There's really no. It's so hard without a visual. I guess I could try with a visual. But instead of going up and down like this, you could also change how the file's rotating like that.
And those angles can vary depending as you're going around the nail.
Yes, there it is. Yeah.
That's the confusing thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the half moon shape that you're creating when you're doing that. Or whatever shape you're creating, the plane. That's created by that type of angle.
Yeah, so you have both of those angles working together in a dynamic way. Which is hard to describe. It's tricky. I feel like as I get rid of my corner, my 45 drops closer to like maybe a 20 or a 30. And then as I file towards my release point, I feel like it increases to like, I don't know, even past a 45, like maybe a 50 or a 60. So that the release doesn't feel too catchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're talking a more dynamic nail shape instead of
half moon or
strictly half moon or strictly ramp.
Yeah.
It's and then also the angles varying as you go across.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, guys, I am not particular about my nail shape.
Nice.
Because I am going for a feeling and a sound, and where I'm at, I'm confident in my mechanics, that I just make my nails work around my mechanics so that I get a certain feel, resistance, and a certain tone. And tone is what drives it for the day. So, and then I shape my nails whatever it needs to be. If they need to be shorter, they're shorter. If they're just longer and I'm impatient, then they're longer. But I make the sound work, and I make my hands work around that. I've gotten less picky. I think about it like I think that's why we like this half moon. It is very flexible.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just less picky, and I just that's just what we're given for the day. We were given these nails for this day, and I'm just gonna make them work.
Yeah.
Or I will make the shape work just so my hand feels a certain way. And I'm chasing that, the sound and feel. And I'm not chasing a specific shape. And I'm not looking to even describe that shape to myself. Nice. I will describe nails to my students to give them something, because they've got to come and to arrive at that point too. And we need to talk about this. This is a great conversation. Personally, I have ventured so far away from it that I don't think about it that much for myself.
You don't get out your protractor?
No. I was mostly joking with the 72, but there is a 70 degree. They do talk about a 70 degree.
A 70 degree
in one of the books, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I found that if you stick strictly with a higher angle, like say you did,
I'm not sure,
then you could change it in that way. I found that if you stick with a higher angle and don't dynamically change the file angle going this way, then you'll get like a nasty corner. So I feel like the lower degree, like a 20 or 30, like
I'm not sure what you're talking about with a 20 or 30 though.
Like
what do you mean the 20 degree? Okay, so
like staying flat or not going up.
Okay, so what is 120? I'm sorry, what is 20?
A 20 would be like a 45 would be like half of it, but then 20 would be going even a bit lower, like that.
Oh, okay. So you're saying from like a plane coming out from your nail going like this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would be a 45.
I feel like you're making that edge so thin and so like that edge is not very resilient.
Yeah,
edge.
that will happen if you go too
shallow.
Shallow, then it'll chip easier.
Yeah.
I've experienced that. I've gone like almost completely flat and it'll like chip.
So I don't shape my, I'm on the sandpaper on the string kick
Mm,
right now.
the sandpaper method.
Yeah, and then really I go to buffing from there, and then if there's anything that catches, then I use the nail file to shape additionally. But the sandpaper on the string seems to be working well for me right now.
So can you describe that for people listening?
Yeah. So what I do is I take a small square of 400 grit sandpaper, and I kind of uh, just bend it over the string,
Like
and then
the first
like
string?
yeah, the first string is good.
Doesn't
Just
matter.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The first string is good because it's got the most tension and it's going to give you the most resistance.
Yeah.
And so then I just pluck the string, making sure my technique and my contact point are good. I pluck the string just like I would regularly pluck it. And so what happens is as the nail crosses over the string over the sandpaper, it is removing the high spots, giving you the a smooth long contact point essentially.
Mm,
So it's a way that can compensate for irregular nail shapes, the way that they grow,
mm-hmm.
irregular nail growth shapes, and that's how I generally shape my nails. And then I touched up very little bit with the file, and then I go to buff, and that's where I get underneath the nail to make sure that anything that gets, because if you push more, your flesh compresses. If you're pushing more for more volume, your flesh compresses, and more area under your nail becomes in contact with the string. So it's important that that is smooth, especially on the release side.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
underside of the nail.
I've been at Tony's suggestions. I've been dabbling in the method as well.
Yeah,
It is pretty nice.
There's a video on that
It's pretty nice.
I've seen a number of years back, and I tried that. It is nice. It's a neat idea.
Yeah.
I've heard of people just putting their fingers down on a file, all three of them, I, M, and A,
Yeah.
and just moving that, getting them all in line with the file. I haven't tried that. I find that very interesting.
That seems like that would be a little. That's not quite exactly how your hand sits on the strings, though, because we just talked about there being slight variation to each fingernail, like where.
I totally agree.
So.
I totally agree. This is.
But maybe that would create it. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I'm not gutsy enough to try it.
Polish your nails for
I'm not
fast
gutsy enough to
couple
try
weeks.
it. But I've heard of all sorts of different systems, right? The sandpaper is a system. All of your fingers on a file is a system, which I'm not gutsy enough to try. I've done, just visually half moon, getting it to be, all of them a consistent length, so I've done that like visually, and now I just do it like again, feel wise.
So I mean, to be real simply put, a lot of people who play classical guitar use their right hand or their rosette hand fingernails, and you achieve some type of shape by having a coarser kind of file that you use to get some shape like that, where you have, some nail kind of coming above the fingertip. And then generally speaking, we use like a finer grit, maybe sandpaper or other type of nail buffer to get the nail very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if anybody's like, maybe somebody listening has never played with nails, or they've heard of it, but they're not quite sure, I'd say that that's a pretty general thing. And you could like research that video of where you're putting the file paper, the sandpaper on the string, and then kind of playing over the sandpaper to kind of bring down any rough edges. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I also find like I've been addicted to sandpaper for a long time. I've tried to just use nail buffers, but I really like kind of pushing the sandpaper into the nail, like all around. And I find for me, like having it being really smooth, like kind of glassy smooth. It has no, it has a lot less resistance, of course. And just produces a really nice tone.
Mm. Nice.
Yes, I too go for that glassy, shiny
Yeah.
on the edge look. Yeah.
It helps with the nails too. I mean, if you're doing it consistently, then unless you like bang it on something, then they should stay pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Excluding the thumbnail.
Yeah, like I mean, to describe that, like after like a coarse nail file, or
Well,
like
grit-
so sandpaper. I like to use 400. Another good nail file for shaping I found is the sound file. It's a glass kind of nail file.
Mhm.
I think Scott Tennant kind of is a big fan of it. I think that he even has like a signature model one.
Ooh, Scott
Cool.
handed.
But I really like it because it does produce it removes a lot of material and it produces already that shiny edge. I think there still should be some buffing after that, but like for testing out a shape, like I like it and I can play with it right away, know if it's going to work. So then from there, like I use like a 4-way buffer that you'd get at a beauty supply, but those grits, you know, are like the finest grit would be like 12,000 is basically what that is. And then the next finest grit is something like 6,000 grit. And then the next would be like 2,400. And then the initial grit would be like 1,500. Those are kind of the grits that would be on a 4-way buffer. They don't talk about that when you go buy them. So like you just get a 4-way buffer, but that's essentially what they're like.
Mhm.
And it's those last two grits that give you that super shine. Like what grit are you using when you're getting that shine, Scott?
1,000.
Yeah. So even like depending on the sandpaper, like 1,000 can be quite shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does depend on the type of sandpaper. Different grits will produce different finishes, but
Yeah. I need to update what I'm doing. I have glass file and then 1,000 grit.
Yeah.
I feel like I need something finer in addition to the 1,000.
You know
Lately,
what-
I
you
haven't
know
been
what you
getting it
use?
as glassy as I want it.
You don't need that because what you use is you just use the piece that you use for the 1,000 over and over again. And then at some point it becomes less, it's very fine. So I mean,
Gross.
I use 1,000, but it's like in reality, like I'll
3
have
months old.
a piece that's like, it's dead. And that's a finishing product. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll overuse my 1,000 then.
Yeah. I mean, I keep a piece for like, it seems like an eternity.
Well, I was at that extreme.
Yeah.
I think I kept the same piece for an absurd amount of years. And then I started like, okay, well, I should actually start using some fresh stuff.
Yeah.
But now I'm not
I mean,
glassy
so
smooth.
you know, I mean, if we're looking for a sponsor,
Yeah, of course. Send us truckloads of sandpaper.
no. So like, I order my strings from Strings by Mail. They're a Michigan company up in Traverse City. We're a Michigan-based trio, musicians, teachers. But like every time I order strings, I also just order a nail buffer from them. I order one of those Oasis nail buffers, and it's just like this way I don't have to like go to the hardware store, you know, regularly or go to the beauty supply. I just order a set of strings, order a buffer. I got a couple guitars, order a couple sets of strings, I order a couple buffers.
There you go.
You know, and then so the next time I order strings, you know, I just order a buffer or two, and then I have them on hand. And it's just like I don't have to like, because I can get pretty lazy about that if I don't have them around.
You don't want an excuse to go to the beauty supply?
No.
Oh man.
We could.
All right. To each his own.
contact
To
3M.
each his own, Tony.
We could see if 3M will sponsor the podcast.
Yeah.
There we go.
Scotch Brite.
There we go.
Okay, quick question then. Have you heard of anybody who doesn't play with nails and do you like how their sound and
No.
their playing?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I know of people that don't play with nails, and I do not like their sound. I don't know of any concert guitarists that regularly play without nails.
Mm.
S- So yes, that's my opinion. I have strong
Sure.
opinions on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I do think in an intimate setting, I think it's totally fine. I don't think in a practical concert setting it is ideal. And I mean, if you love classical guitar and you can't grow nails, or you have a profession where you can't have long nails, like you're a doctor or something, or a
Yeah.
dentist, and you still want to play for the love of it, well, go ahead and play without nails. Do not play guitar because you can't have nails. Play guitar without nails. Find a way that works. Make a beautiful sound. Have fun.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes that's good advice because sometimes I feel like it gets in the way of a lot of stuff. You know, it's like I don't know.
That's why I stopped being so picky about it, because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
got
me
in the
too.
way.
Oh yeah, me too. It's like, sometimes it's like, geez, I just want to play my guitar and I don't want to think about this so much. But do you know anybody, Ben? Any performers or just
I mean, not within the classical music sphere, but like, um, I think there's a lot of people who do finger style, but it
yeah,
has
we're
to
not
be
talking about
it
steel
has to be
string.
amplified. It has
Yeah.
to be amplified. So
Yeah.
you can do it with that. If you had an amplified acoustic electric or electric guitar, then you can get the volume that you
Or
need.
even if you mic'd it, like, I mean, even like, like the guitars that Soar would have played on, without fingernails and stuff. Um, like
Did he
it would
mic?
totally. I know. I'm just saying it would like, if that's, well. I
Oh,
mean,
he
he
mic'd
played in,
up.
but the venues were different.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but if you wanted to concertize on a guitar like that, you just mic it up. Or if you wanted to do a recital,
Yeah.
and without nails, you just mic it up. We have the technology, and it would still sound great.
Yeah.
I
It's a
don't,
nice
I don't,
warm sound.
I don't think there's any reason to hate on it, because I
Yeah,
don't.
I don't either.
But it's not the sound that I like, and for a concert classical guitarist.
Yeah, I greatly prefer the nail tone. I'm in love with the nail tone because I love classical guitar sound, and that's what I'm drawn to. But I do know one classical concert artist, guitarist, whatever we want to call it, and that's Gerald Garcia.
Hmm.
Mm.
He does not play with nails, and his recordings are amazing.
Huh.
He also wrote those like etudes and that French word I won't say
Mm.
because I don't know how to say it, but you know who I'm talking about? Do you know that performer?
Mm.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not Jerry Garcia,
No.
it's Gerald Garcia,
Gerald.
and yeah, I mean his playing is incredible. He's extremely musical. He has he has a number of CDs on Naxos, like I think it's like Brazilian Portrait, Latin American Portrait, something like that, and they're just incredible.
Mm.
But I think,
One of the, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, I think like if you were to go down and kind of look to maybe more of, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, no, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, so one of the things that can be the opposite is something that sounds too naily, and that
Yeah,
drives me nuts.
yeah.
Too clicky, and so there is. I mean, just like for me, when I'm plucking with my nails, it should sound like I'm not playing with nails. It
Mm.
shouldn't be that the sound is so in the way. Does that make sense?
Oh,
The
yeah.
only reason why, you can just say, oh, it's a full, clear, round sound, but it does, and big, you know, and it's not like, oh, I'm hearing what sounds like guitar picks,
Yeah.
and I mean, we can hear it on some of the best guitarists' recordings too sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that comes from miking techniques as well. So it's not necessarily the player's fault,
Mm.
but sometimes, I mean, it can be too. It could just be the way their nails are when they did that live concert. They're struggling through their nails that day, just like we struggle through our nails daily. I mean, it's part of, I think, our guitarist's daily struggle.
Mm.
So I would
Yeah.
also, shy. I wouldn't shy away from nails if all you've ever experienced was that crappy naily sound.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I would continue to work on your nail shape or listen or find other recordings of people that you do like that play with nails that don't sound naily.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, we haven't talked a whole lot about the balance that we're kind of looking for.
I don't
One
want
end
any
of the-
plastic sound. No plasticky sound. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Because there's
I mean,
that.
there's people that play with plastic ping pong
Yeah,
balls, but it
that is
doesn't
true.
sound like plastic.
Yeah.
There's that as well. People
Yeah.
that play with artificial nails and it doesn't sound like artificial nails.
Yeah. We're kind of looking for the middle ground between projection and clarity, but then not too naily. That sounds thin, but then also not too fleshy, where it sounds kind of puffy and subdued. So kind of that's the. But then it changes depending on the phrase. You could want to become more naily for a moment, or you could pull a Julian Bream and get really naily in Ponticello for a few seconds. But yeah, cool. We got that one more little thing. When you contact, is it flesh and nail at the same time? Or is it just flash for a microscopic second and then nail to avoid the nail click? Last thing.
I was hoping you would avoid this.
You guys avoided it earlier, but I'm bringing it back. I feel like it's flash for like a microsecond before.
I have strong opinions about this.
Let him rip.
No, go ahead first. You guys first.
Well, that's my opinion, is that there's a spot where you can contact with flesh and nail at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you contact. But then you refine it so that it's flesh just like a little tiny bit before, like almost unmeasurable, by not curling your finger as much. So it's flesh and nail at the same time, but not quite. Otherwise, you get a nail click, unless nail clicks are
that's
okay.
Not true.
Yeah? What do you think? Counter opinion. Go for it. Or Scott, go first, then Tony.
I'll make mine easy and say that I don't think about it.
No, that's
Yeah,
a
and
cop.
I don't think about it, and I'm not convinced that you touch on the flesh first because that would just be way too much work. I mean, really, in reality, you got to think about that. It's like, actually, I was reading. Who was I reading? Oh, one of the Romeros has a book, and they were talking about that how when they do they play cross string. When they're doing like an inverted cross string, or not even inverted, they're just doing a cross string, and sometimes they'll repeat the finger they just played on the next string. They literally talk about adjusting the fingertip on the string that it rests on. And I've never seen that, but I was just reading it because I have a ton of books in the office at Wayne State. And I was like, that sounds wild to me. Because at that point, you're adjusting the finger that just came onto the string. Why not use the other finger? You know, that's not that, is in the air. Anyway, I think if you touch the flesh alone, then that's too much work. You're asking too many steps out of a stroke, and it has to be either a flesh nail or just maybe If you believe you execute the tone with flesh nail, I mean, it must touch flesh nail. Because unless you have really long fingernails and you're playing a certain type of stroke.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what do you think
that's
about
where
nail
I'll leave it.
clicks? The acceptability of nail clicks.
No, you don't have to nail click when you do it. So part of warming up is refining your touch, right? And so that means when you touch the string, if you are indecisive with your touch, you're going to get a noise even if you touched flesh. If it's not decisive with your touch, you will get noise regardless. No matter what, you either touch the nail first, you touch the flesh first, you touch them simultaneously.
Yeah, because you can still get that little buzz.
Even when you touch just flesh.
Yeah, with just flesh. You can still get a flesh buzz.
The touch of the string has to be very precise. And that's one of the things you're warming up or at least I'm warming up when I warm up, is that touch. Right? And I want to be flesh and nail at the contact point immediately. So it is immediately able to play. I don't want to have a micro touching flesh and then it goes into nail
Too complicated.
I think because it would like there's too many variables. Again, with the length of the nail, how hydrated you are, your fingers are puffier depending on your hydration.
That does change.
Seriously, is something I notice. So I just go, no, get the nail and flesh to touch simultaneously. And if it's noisy, it's because I am not precise enough. It happens. It happens less and less, or I can adjust much quicker. You know, it's too much work. And I agree with Scott.
We found the answer on that one. Yeah.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk about it.
That's cool. Yeah. No, it's interesting.
I'm satisfied.
Nice.
What I've also just been thinking, just don't get a nail click. Whatever it might be, just don't nail click. There's a way to come at it. But okay. All right. Yet again, another fulfilling discussion, another exciting discussion. But thank you for anyone who may have been listening. We appreciate it. And we will see you in the next installment. Bye-bye.